Imagine a quiet afternoon at Downton Abbey. The sun streams through tall windows, dust motes floating in the air, and somewhere in the house, a letter waits to be opened. It is Matthew's final will. For years, everyone wondered what he would leave behind. And now the secret is about to be revealed. Who will inherit his treasures? What hidden wishes did he leave behind? The answers might surprise you, and they could change the future of Downton forever. The camera slowly glides over the grand halls of Downton Abbey. Outside, the sprawling gardens stretch into the distance, perfectly quiet, except for the soft rustle of leaves. Inside, everything feels calm, almost frozen in time. But behind the calm, a mystery lingers. Matthew's final will, sealed and untouched, sits on his old wooden desk. Dust covers the edges of the envelope, and the faint scent of parchment fills the air. The scene is quiet, yet tension lingers. Like the house itself knows something important is about to unfold. As the camera moves closer, we see glimpses of Matthew's life reflected in small objects around the room. A worn leather-bound diary, a silver pocket watch, a faded photograph of the Crawley family smiling on a summer day. Each item tells a story, a memory, a connection to the people he loved and served for so many years. These objects are more than decorations, they are pieces of a life that mattered. Pieces of a legacy that is about to be revealed in ways no one expected. The narration draws viewers in, speaking softly, but with weight. Matthews was not just a loyal servant and friend. He was a quiet observer of life at Downton Abbey. He saw the joys, the struggles, the secrets, and the small moments that made this house more than bricks and wood. It made it a home. And now, in the silence of this room, that same man has left instructions that could shift the balance of the household. His final will is not just a document. It is a story waiting to be told. Subtle sound effects hint at the tension, a soft creak of the floor, the flicker of candlelight, the rustle of paper as if the house itself is breathing in anticipation. The camera lingers on the envelope once more, focusing on its seal. Who will break it? What will they find inside? For the audience, this is more than curiosity. It is the beginning of a journey into Matthew's heart and mind. A journey that promises surprises, emotions, and revelations that will resonate throughout the halls of Downton Abbey. The scene ends with the camera slowly pulling back, showing Matthew's study in full, sunbeams cutting through the dust-filled air, and the envelope waiting patiently on the desk. The silence is powerful. The audience is left leaning forward, wondering what secrets are hidden inside Matthew's final will. This quiet tension sets the stage for the story to come, ensuring viewers are hooked and eager to discover the next piece of the puzzle. Matthews was more than a servant at Downton Abbey. He was the quiet heartbeat of the house. While many might remember him for his polite manners and gentle smile, those who truly knew him understood the depth of his loyalty and the wisdom he carried in every action. He had spent decades walking the corridors of Downton, observing the Crawley family through times of joy and hardship, always offering help where it was needed, often unnoticed. The family came and went, fortunes changed, and yet Matthews remained, a constant presence whose influence stretched far beyond the duties of his role. As the camera pans across familiar rooms, the grand dining hall, the sunlit drawing room, the library lined with towering bookshelves, we are reminded of the many lives Matthews touched. From quietly comforting a grieving family member to offering practical advice to the younger staff, he had a subtle way of shaping the household without drawing attention to himself. The objects in his study reflect this life of quiet dedication, a ledger full of meticulous notes, a half-finished letter, and personal mementos that hint at a life both humble and rich with unseen moments. These items are not just relics. They are fragments of Matthew's story, clues to understanding what might be in his final will. The weight of anticipation grows as the narration continues. For years, Matthews had hinted at the importance of family, loyalty, and kindness, and now, even in death, his choices would carry those values forward. His will was more than a legal document. It was a reflection of his life philosophy, a chance to reward loyalty, reveal truths, and perhaps even challenge the assumptions of those who thought they knew him. Every character at Downton, whether born into the Crawley family or working behind the scenes, was about to feel the impact of Matthew's careful thought. His subtle influence that had quietly guided the household for so long. Visuals shift to the reactions of the staff in brief glimpses. Lady Mary arranging flowers, Tom walking quietly in the halls, the servants pausing mid-task, as if sensing the gravity of what is to come. These small, faceless moments hint at the interconnectedness of the house and how one man's decisions could ripple through every corner of Downton. The audience begins to understand Matthew's final will is not just about property or possessions, it is about revealing character, resolving unspoken tensions, and leaving a mark on the very soul of the estate. Matthew's presence at Downton Abbey was quiet, almost invisible, yet it left an imprint on every corner of the house. Unlike the grandeur of the Crawleys or the bustle of the staff, Matthew's influence was subtle, found in the small, meaningful moments that often went unnoticed. He knew the patterns of the household, the way Lady Mary's brow furrowed when she was worried, how the youngest servants tiptoed around mistakes, the hidden tensions that simmered beneath polite conversation. In many ways, he was the keeper of Downton's secrets, a silent guardian whose decisions shaped life inside the estate more than anyone realized. The camera lingers over the study where Matthew spent so many hours. Sunlight catches the edges of worn notebooks, ink-stained papers, and the carefully folded envelopes that hold private thoughts. Each object whispers a story. Letters exchanged in confidence, lists of chores managed with precision, small tokens of kindness he left for those he cared about. These artifacts hint at a life that was methodical yet deeply human, a life that, in its final act, would speak louder than words. Matthew's will is not just a list of bequests. It is the culmination of decades of observation, care, and quiet wisdom. And it carries the power to reveal truths the family might never have known about him or about each other. Even the house seems to hold its breath. The halls, the staircases, the familiar portraits staring silently from the walls, they all feel different under the weight of anticipation. For those who dwell in the grand rooms of Downton, Matthew's death is a loss felt in invisible ways, a missing presence at the dinner table, a silence in the servants' quarters, a quiet absence in the drawing rooms where his steady hands once guided everything. And now, the envelope on his desk, sealed and unassuming, promises revelations that could shake the balance of the household and bring to light long-hidden aspects of Matthew's character. As the narration draws viewers in, subtle hints of intrigue appear, a flicker of candlelight on the envelope, the rustle of papers in the study, and shadows dancing across the floor, as if the house itself is aware that something is about to change. Matthew's final will is not just a formality, it is a story waiting to be told, a secret waiting to be uncovered, and a legacy that will touch every person under the roof of Downton Abbey. The audience is left with a sense of curiosity and reverence, eager to follow the unfolding drama of loyalty, love, and hidden truths that Matthews has left behind. The envelope sits alone on Matthew's desk, sealed with a wax stamp that bears his initials. It is unassuming, yet it carries the weight of a lifetime of choices, observations, and unspoken truths. For years, whispers of what might be inside have circulated among the Crawleys and the staff. Small rumors, fleeting comments, moments where Matthew's gaze lingered on someone a little too long. Could it be that his will holds more than just property or possessions? Could it reveal secrets, settle old tensions, or even reward quiet loyalty in unexpected ways? The camera moves slowly over the envelope, catching the flicker of candlelight on its surface, the faint scratch of Matthew's handwriting barely visible on the folded edges. Shadows stretch across the desk, the quiet creak of the floorboards suggesting that the house itself waits in anticipation. Outside, the wind brushes against the windows, carrying with it the feeling that something hidden is about to be revealed. Every object in the study, the scattered notes, the ink pot, the silver watch Matthews always kept, close hints at stories left untold. Stories that the will might finally bring to light. Even the staff, unseen by the camera, seem to feel it. The air in the hallways grows heavier with each passing moment, the quiet tension almost palpable. Who will read the will first? Will it cause joy, surprise, or conflict? Every possibility hangs in the balance, and the audience senses that this is not just about inheritance, it is about identity, loyalty, and the unseen ways Matthews shaped everyone's life at Downton Abbey. His careful observations, his small acts of kindness, and even his quiet disapproval now have a voice in this document, waiting to reveal the true depth of the man who seemed to simply move in the background for so long. Hints of mystery deepen as the camera focuses on the sealed wax. Perhaps Matthews left instructions that challenge assumptions, reward the unnoticed, or reveal truths some were never meant to hear. The rustle of paper, the soft tapping of a quill, even the faint shadows on the wall, all serve to build suspense. The audience is drawn in, imagining the faces of those who will uncover its contents, imagining the tension that will ripple through the household. Matthew's will is no ordinary letter. It is a carefully crafted revelation, a final act that binds the past and the future, and a key to understanding the quiet, intricate heart of Downton Abbey itself. The moment the will is finally opened, the atmosphere at Downton Abbey shifts. The quiet corridors, once familiar and predictable, seem to hum with tension. Every floorboard, every echo of footsteps, carries the weight of expectation. The Crawleys and the staff, though unseen, are acutely aware that Matthew's careful choices are about to ripple through their lives. It's not just a matter of property or possessions. It is a reflection of the man who watched over them all with gentle eyes and steady hands. In the servants' quarters, the rustle of skirts and the soft shuffle of shoes hint at hushed conversations. Fingers graze over folded linens, a teacup trembles slightly on its saucer, and even the silence feels charged with anticipation. Outside, the wind stirs the trees in the gardens, as if nature itself senses the unfolding drama. Matthew's presence lingers, unseen yet palpable, guiding the reactions of those who loved him, respected him, or simply depended on him without realizing it. Every choice he made, every hidden note, every unspoken sentiment, now casts a long shadow across the estate. The camera lingers on symbolic gestures, a hand pausing over a letter, a servant leaning closer to hear the words aloud, a candle flickering and casting moving shadows across the walls. Each subtle motion tells a story: shock, relief, gratitude, or quiet contemplation. Lady Mary's poised composure seems steadier, yet the slight tension in her hands betrays curiosity and concern. Tom moves with careful hesitation, aware that the will might illuminate loyalties he hadn't considered. Even the smallest staff members, the unseen figures who keep the house alive, feel the ripple of Matthew's legacy in ways the audience can sense but not fully see. Adding layers of intrigue and emotion, narration heightens the suspense. Matthew's final decisions are revealing truths about relationships that had long been quiet, awarding unexpected inheritances, and sometimes correcting small injustices that had gone unnoticed for years. Every reaction is magnified by the weight of what is at stake, not just the material bequests, but the understanding of Matthew's character, his wisdom, and the subtle ways he shaped Downton Abbey. The audience feels a mixture of anticipation and empathy, as if they too are walking through the hallways, listening to the whispers, sensing the undercurrents of emotion, and realizing that Matthew's influence extends far beyond what anyone ever imagined. The scene fades with lingering shots of the empty desk, the opened envelope, and the faint imprint of Matthew's hand on the wax seal. The silence that follows is heavy yet reverent, as if the house itself pauses to reflect on the quiet, enduring presence of the man who gave so much without fanfare. The audience is left with a deep sense of connection, a curiosity about how these revelations will unfold, and an emotional investment in the legacy that Matthews has carefully crafted. Setting the stage for the ultimate revelations to come, the envelope opens slowly, and with it, a wave of anticipation sweeps through Downton Abbey. Matthew's handwriting, steady and precise, flows across the page like a final message from a man who had quietly observed life for decades. Each line carries intention, every word chosen to honor loyalty, acknowledge unseen kindness, and perhaps challenge assumptions about what truly matters. This is not just a document of possessions. It is Matthew's last conversation with the household he loved, a map of his values, and a subtle reminder of the quiet power of attentiveness and care. Visuals linger on the objects mentioned in the will: a cherished silver watch given to a trusted staff member, a collection of books bequeathed to someone whose curiosity Matthews had always admired, and personal letters that reveal feelings, gratitude, and subtle guidance. These items, seemingly small, carry emotional weight, creating connections that no one had imagined. The will is meticulous yet thoughtful, reflecting Matthew's quiet nature, a man who understood that sometimes the smallest gestures leave the deepest marks. The narration highlights the deeper revelations. Matthew's choices go beyond fairness or duty. Some inheritances surprise even the closest family members, rewarding unseen contributions or offering gentle lessons. Secrets are hinted at in his carefully worded sentences, moments of acknowledgement for acts of kindness, subtle guidance for future decisions, and the quiet encouragement to uphold the principles he held dear. The audience senses that Matthew's final act is less about material wealth and more about shaping the soul of Downton Abbey, leaving a legacy that cannot be measured in objects alone. Even in the shadows of the estate, the weight of these revelations is felt. Hands brush over the pages, eyes linger on words that carry meaning long after they are read, and the air seems charged with recognition of Matthew's deep understanding of everyone in the house. The camera focuses on small details, the envelope now empty, a seal broken, but the memory of his presence intact, a flickering candle casting warm light over the written words. The quiet hush that follows the reading, as if the house itself pauses to honor the wisdom of the man who once walked silently among them. For the audience, this is the emotional heart of the story. Matthew's final will is a mirror of his life, thoughtful, gentle, profound, and surprisingly powerful. The will's revelations settle into the house like a quiet tide, touching every corner of Downton Abbey. It is more than a redistribution of possessions. It is a reshaping of relationships, of trust, and of the understanding that every small act, every unseen effort, matters. The staff move differently now, steps a little lighter, heads a little higher, as if Matthew's thoughtful choices have given them recognition long overdue. Even the family, who once took the rhythm of the estate for granted, pause to reflect on the man who quietly held it all together. The camera drifts through familiar rooms, capturing symbolic moments, a polished teacup now cherished by a new owner, a carefully folded letter clutched in trembling hands, a candlelight flicker reflecting on a silver token that bridges generations. These small gestures ripple outward, showing that Matthew's legacy is not measured in objects but in the emotional resonance he leaves behind. Each bequest is a reminder of the values he lived by: loyalty, kindness, and the quiet courage to care without seeking recognition. Narration draws the audience closer. The impact is subtle but profound. Friendships are strengthened, unspoken tensions eased, and even regrets find a sense of closure. Matthew's decisions reveal not just who he valued, but why, teaching those who remain a lesson in humility, attentiveness, and generosity. It is a ripple effect. The household feels steadier, more connected, and more aware of the invisible threads that bind everyone together. The audience senses that this is the true power of his final act, shaping the character of Downton Abbey itself. The scene fades with lingering imagery, sunlight spilling across the estate's grand halls. The familiar portraits on the walls, bathed in warm light. The envelope that held his final words, now empty, but echoing with meaning. The house seems to breathe, alive with Matthew's spirit. For viewers, this moment resonates deeply, not because of inheritance or objects, but because it reveals a legacy built on quiet wisdom and enduring love. Matthew's will has done more than decide possessions. It has ensured that the soul of Downton Abbey carries his guidance forward, reminding everyone that even the quietest presence can leave the most lasting impact. The camera slowly pulls back from Matthew's study, now bathed in the soft glow of late afternoon sunlight. The envelope lies empty, a silent witness to the secrets and lessons it once held. Shadows stretch across the floorboards, carrying with them the weight of memory, loyalty, and quiet wisdom. Downton Abbey is still, yet it feels fuller, more alive, because Matthew's legacy now flows through every hallway, every room, and every heart that remains within its walls. The narration whispers a reflective thought. Matthew's will was never just about possessions. It was about connection, recognition, and the unseen threads that hold a household together. In rewarding the unnoticed, revealing hidden truths, and leaving guidance for the future, Matthew's final act becomes a quiet testament to the power of care, attention, and love that asks for nothing in return. The audience is invited to feel the gravity of this moment, not just the ending of a life, but the beginning of a new understanding for everyone in Downton Abbey. Visuals linger on symbolic objects, a silver watch catching the light, letters stacked neatly on a desk, and a single candle flickering gently. These images serve as reminders that legacy is not in grandeur or riches, but in the small, thoughtful acts that leave a lasting impression. The house itself seems to breathe Matthew's spirit, carrying his lessons forward silently, steadily, and forever.